but this is how we grow. Gotta give it up sometimes, let's go. And knowing when to kill your pride. There's no one to blame, nothing really stays the same. This is how we grow. Sometimes we hold on to let go.
Hello and welcome to StreamGeeks Live every Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. In this show, we're talking about how to live stream a classroom, and we're kicking off a brand new book release, Technology Tools for Online Education. In this book, you will learn how to live stream your classroom, but more importantly, how to create engaging video content for your online learning management systems, which will help students become better prepared for those collaboration sessions that I'm sure many teachers are hosting over Zoom and Google Meet, and they can join these meetings and be much more productive as they kind of already can tune in to your classroom and be well prepared with all those video tutorials and course materials that you're going to provide them over learning management systems. I'm Paul Richards, and I'm the author of multiple books. I also have 45,000 students taking my courses on Udemy, and I'm happy to say my course for Technology Tools for Online Education is free right now. Almost 5,000 educators have already joined and enrolled this course. So we're going to talk all about it today. I'm going to give you guys a 45-minute fast-paced preview of what you're going to learn in this course. I'm going to try to teach as much material as I can. So thank you for joining us live. Let's do it. All right, there's Tess, and it looks like we got Robert. Thanks for joining in, guys. You should have the Zoom meeting link if you want to join the Zoom meeting, and then you can ask questions. But I'm going to try to go as fast as I can through this great material and show how to live stream your school and your classroom. And I would highly recommend that you get the book for free. If you're a Kindle reader, it's free on Kindle today and tomorrow. You can also get the online course. So as you can see here, there's 4,200 teachers already taking this course, 4.5 average review with 32 people who have left reviews. So I'm really excited about this. There's over 4 hours of content. Mike and I, my producer here, worked really hard on this. You can learn how to create educational videos for online learning, plan out your virtual classroom, use popular technology tools, create online content for online learning management systems, and much more. And the free coupon code that's available for the next 3 days, this is just the way Udemy does their free coupon codes, is called August in all caps. And you can get this course for free. So enroll on Udemy. Now, when we're talking about live streaming a classroom, a lot of teachers ask me this, and I try to say, is that really what you want to do? Live streams are generally fairly public events. And for many educational scenarios, we're looking at private tutoring, private mentoring, collaboration sessions. So the question is does it really need to be live streamed? Yes, we'll talk about live streaming a class today, but we want to put it in a higher perspective. Is this a public or a private or something in between, which we will talk about? So is it a public school-wide announcement, a public school meeting with teachers and parents and anyone in the world? Is it the whole grade? Is it everyone in 5th grade or 6th grade? Or is it more of a private classroom lesson or a small breakout session, or maybe a one-on-one meeting? All of these are important, and we're going to high level talk about the video technology that you can use to put this together. So public broadcasts, best for like large outreach, can be done with YouTube and Facebook. Private meetings like Zoom and BlueJeans and Microsoft Teams, they're the best for collaboration. They're usually smaller groups. Now, Google Meet, which I should have on this list, actually has the ability to have free meetings with up to 100 people, but also live stream it for more with a private link. So that's really cool. And we talk about that in the book. At a high level, one of the things that you're going to learn about, and I think everyone's talking about, is how do we get the engagement that students are used to having in person when we're in class and translate that to an online experience. And we want to combine the educational aspects of our lessons with an engagement aspect. And that's what we're going to talk about today at a high level. And I think it's going to be really fun. I want to let everybody know that I am looking at the chat room. And Tess, if you want to jump in at any time with chat messages that you want me to answer, I'm happy to do so.
You got it.
So first of all, the traditional classroom used to be you would lecture in class and you do the homework at home. Now, this is widely adopted and it very well applies to distance learning and online learning, that we flip that concept and the students actually take and digest the lectures online, and then they join class for activities. And now in a distance learning scenario, that might be a Zoom call. That might be a Google Meet call. And at that time, you know, the students are coming to class, coming to that Zoom meeting or that Google Meet meeting, having already watched the lecture. So they're much better prepared for collaboration in a group experience. So in the traditional classroom, before class, students would do the reading, right? And they would do the homework before they come into class, or if they didn't do their homework, they'd be unprepared. And that was me in many classes and many students in many classes. So when they get to class, the faculty's doing a lecture, right? And the students are taking notes. And after class, is the faculty available? Well, the students are working through their homework at that time. The faculty is generally not available when students are doing their homework. They're supposed to do that at home. Now, before class, this is in this screen here. This is in the flipped classroom. Before class, students gain familiarity with the subjects in their learning management system. So they're taking the online lectures and the courses, and the book that I'm hoping many of you will download today, Technology Tools for Online Education, is all about how to make those videos that are in that learning management system more engaging and more effective using free tools like OBS and Pixlr. So we're going to go over all of that. But during class, the students actually come to class having already listened to the lecture, already taken the online materials with the learning management system, and now they can complete assessments, they can do online quizzes, and they can do collaboration sessions before and during class. Now, in class, the faculty members there to help students do the homework, right? Collaborate and work through the practice materials. So here's an example of a flipped classroom. Students log into the learning management system. They watch the videos. Let's say it's on a history lesson. We're going to show some history lesson examples today. And before class, they're asked to do a little research, and they're asked to bring some questions to class based on the lectures that they've learned. So students are following instructions, they're researching a history lesson on a topic of interest, and then in class, students are collaborating about the history lessons and sharing their own research and stories. And there's a lot of research that's been published about the flipped classroom. Now, another thing we're going to talk about today a little bit is teacher and student co-creation. So in this world of distance learning, students can actually submit materials that can be combined into a collage or a group project with the teacher's guidance. So that could be audio clips from a podcast, pictures, video clips, even recordings of Zoom meetings, for example. And the teacher and student can collaborate with those materials. And I've spoken with professors who are actually combining all of the students' materials into a single video or basically piece of content that they can use. Now, again, another high-level understanding here, I want to make sure we clarify synchronous with asynchronous learning. And I apologize that we're going so fast. I'm trying to go over like 4 or 5 chapters of the book in this one 45-minute lesson. But the synchronous learning happens in real time. Asynchronous learning happens with students' own schedule. So what are the benefits? Well, asynchronous learning is very flexible. The students can kind of choose their pacing and it's very affordable, but the disadvantage is of isolation, right? And risk of apathy. Now, with two-way communications, we have the asynchronous learning where there could be like a one-way student-driven learning, or we can have the synchronous learning where we've got the feedback of the teacher and the mentor, which gives us that guidance opportunity. Now, at the end of this presentation, if we make it, hopefully we will within this hour, 45-minute session, or this 45-minute session, I'm going to show you guys how to make something like this. And essentially, this is going to be like a PNG overlay where you're going to have an area where you can put your webcam. You're going to have an area where you can have a presentation in here. and you're going to have like some notes to put, and this will become a template that you can use for your videos. We go over this in the online course and the book. You can use that area for presentations. You can use it for video clips. You can use it for a document camera. And we're going to go over all of that today in our online lesson. Now, quickly, I want to talk about online communication tools. So we talked about live broadcast, that Facebook and that YouTube, but what about the online communication tools, the Zooms, the big blue buttons, the Adobe Connects, and the Google Meets? Well, it's going to be a mix of everything, right? You're going to want to create engaging online videos, which is the basis of what you're going to learn in this book, and hopefully this little mini course lesson today. But you're going to want to use online communications to follow up, to be a mentor, to be present with your students as they're going through their learning process. And it's your opportunity to be there for them like you would be in a normal classroom. Now, there's a couple other tools I want teachers to be aware of. We're not going to do a deep dive into these, but video discussion tools allow you to post a video and ask students to either watch them together, that's what WeVideo does, or synchronize notes and actually like take clips of videos and just kind of do a lot of like video sharing. So video sharing tools go beyond YouTube, for example, and you can really get into allowing students to collaborate as they watch a video or even as they take notes with TurboNote. So I wanted to mention those video discussion tools. And then another great tool through this process are those grading and quiz style activities. Kahoot and CrowdPur are two of my favorite. Kahoot's probably the most popular, blending in these live assessment and quiz opportunities as well. Now I'm going to start off by giving you some good ideas to foster those personal relationship building process, which is the foundation to that team communication, which will happen over Zoom or Google Meet. And that starts with sharing personal stories. We want to get students to share their personal stories. You can lead by an example as the educator to share some personal stories. Now, something to be aware of, this is something that a lot of people don't realize. There's a term called equity of voice. And what it means is that everyone in a Zoom meeting or Google Meet has an equal opportunity to speak. Now, you're going to have shy students. You're going to have some students who don't want to speak or aren't sure if they want to participate. But in a perfect meeting with equity of voice, and there's 5 people, each person would get 1/5 time speaking and would spend 4/5 their time listening. Obviously, listening is going to be very important, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But equity of voice is something I want to make sure people understand, because you might want to strive for equity of voice in a variety of scenarios that we'll talk about in this presentation. Now, there's another term that I actually talked about in my last book, the Online Meeting Survival Guide, which is called equilibrium of voice. Now, there may be a time when the teacher is being asked to present material. They may take a majority of the agenda, and they have a role of being the presenter, so they will have more time speaking and less time listening. Excuse me. But the idea is to make sure that the role is and the agenda is established so that everyone knows who's going to be speaking the most during these online meetings, so everyone can kind of get into the mood of the lesson that's happening in Zoom or Google Meet. Because there may be a time when students need to be the presenters, right? And there's a student presentation going on, and that's their role for the day. And the Q&A portion is when the rest of the students get to ask questions. So think about the equity of voice and the equilibrium of voice as you try to optimize your online learning with Google Meet or Zoom. And think about, well, is this a team collaboration meeting, or is this more of a lecture or a presentation? Are we starting a new project with brainstorming, or are we doing weekly class update meetings? Depending on what you want, and we go into this more into the book, your goals, you'll have to shift your ability to which one you're using and what you're striving for. Now, at the core of both of these strategies, we're talking about engaged learning. That's the key to student development. We need to keep people engaged. And one of the ways to keep them engaged is to give them an opportunity to speak and make sure it's clear when it's their time to listen. And we will do that by setting some ground rules. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I wanted to show this little example of an ideal scenario where a teacher is able to keep an eye on their audience, but also have an eye level view to the webcam. And the key to this is actually a box, a cardboard box. Raise that television, that second monitor that you have, up 6 to 7 inches so that when you're looking at the audience or you're looking at your work, you're very close to maintaining eye contact with the camera. And we found this works really well. And students want to feel like that you're looking at them as opposed to, not looking at them. Now, students want to use technology. This is an important thing. So they do want to use technology. And as a teacher, it's your job to figure out what technology is going to help them learn the most. What do they want to use? And it's the teachers that do the little things that really make kids' year memorable. And that's something that, I've heard a lot. So don't be afraid to try new things. You never know what's going to connect with new students. And, it's worth adventuring and trying. And if you're watching this live stream, maybe you're asking some questions in the chat. You're doing the right thing. You're trying new things. You're ready to learn. And just like in the classroom, lay down some ground rules, right? Make sure students know what is expected of them, even in an online meeting. You don't want to, miss that opportunity. Now, try to find a way to interact immediately with your students. I hear this all the time from teachers. We need to get a Q&A. We need to have an icebreaker. We need to have a virtual quiz. We need to get students using their smartphones in a productive way, not on social media, not on TikTok, right? So we want them to be able to share their screen or get engaged, feel part of the conversation. So do that right away. And that is why you want to use those two-way communication tools. Now, one great way to get students enrolled is it's called a watch party, right? Play a video that everyone can watch together. Sometimes we call this B-roll, and it's essentially supporting video clips that help support what you were trying to teach. Some teachers like to do like a motivational Monday. Other teachers like to break up their hour-long sessions with, short video clips. Now, it's obvious that you should take time to listen. This is a time of great change, and you may be one of the main constants in the student's life. So be there to listen for them and make sure you provide breakout sessions and one-on-one sessions that provide more ears in your meeting spaces for people to feel that they're being listened. And if you can, try to provide instant feedback. This is what students are used to on social media and on YouTube, is that instant feedback. So you can get to them with ZipGrade or Google Forms, quick information and live polls and reactions that will really help people, feel that they're getting, engaged right away. Now, another thing is to offer either one-on-one Zoom sessions or Google Meet sessions for students who want it. I hear this from teachers and students on both sides of the fence, that they feel more comfortable opening up on one-to-one sessions. And sometimes in a class setting, you don't feel as open. If you think about it, in a classroom, you're looking at the back of all the students' heads and the front of a teacher. But in a Google Zoom or Google Meet or a Zoom session, you're looking at the front of everyone's face. So it always feels like everyone's looking at you, and it can feel more comfortable on a one-on-one session. Now, because we're talking distance learning and working from home, checking in with students via email is more important than ever. So, find out your students' emails, make sure they're getting the emails that are coming from the learning management systems, and check in with them. Now, Mike, I'd like to show a couple options here. Show me in our presentation scene here so we can show a live example of this. Essentially, we're going to show you how to lay out a course. And we're going to talk, in the book, we talk about different color schemes and really doing like colors that evoke the emotions that you're trying to get at. We won't go over that in detail. But what I want to talk about is, here's a full screen view. All right, that might be great for an introduction scene. Now let's go to our side-by-side scene where we have the presentation next to me, right? And then we might have an outro scene where we change it up. And these are scenes. Right down there should be my Zoom guest, for example. But different scenes that will show on how to spice up the engagement and the presentation of your online videos. So this is an important one. We'll go over this and how to do this. This would be like a document camera view. We'll show how to use that as well. So wanted to start with that real quick. Now, how does that all lay out? Well, this whole part up here, and here, this is like a PNG file. And I really think that you guys if you take the online course, you'll get these files. And essentially you have a space for a presentation, you have a space for a webcam, and you have a space maybe for like a document camera. And it really makes it look cool and interesting. So what I'd like to do with the rest of our time, and then we will jump into Q&A, is I want to talk about how to get started with OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. It's 100% free software that will allow you to do some of the things you are seeing today. So first of all, you can download OBS for free at obsstudio.com. You can get it for Mac, you can get it for Windows. It's a great application that will allow you to create a couple scenes that will take your videos to the next level and beyond just a picture-in-picture. Okay, it's really going to make them look really good. And so I just want to give you guys, I want to make you familiar with OBS. You're definitely going to take the free online course if you want to dig more into OBS and really become an OBS pro. But essentially, we have scenes down here, and scenes are collections of sources. So one scene might be that PNG that we were looking at with a desktop capture with your webcam. So it's three things combined into one. Now, another scene might just be a video clip. You might just download a video clip. Maybe it's an intro video. Maybe it is a video that you have access to from YouTube. Maybe it's a website. But the nice thing is that you have all this flexibility to switch in between them as you are recording your videos. So that is the main interface there. Now, at the top, we have the whole title bar like you would imagine. And then down on the bottom right here, we have the ability to start recording and jump into the settings area. In the middle there, you've got your audio source, which could be a webcam microphone, or it could be anything in there that it would be. So just wanted to give you guys that. Now, when you first set up OBS, you have the option to optimize for streaming or optimize for recording. Now, if you are going to set up a live stream for your classroom and you truly do want to live stream, then you would optimize for streaming. But I imagine that after this presentation and what most teachers are going to spend most of their time doing is actually recording videos that are engaging and exciting for their classes. Now, the great thing is if you can use OBS to create an engaging video, then you can use it to live stream as well. In fact, if you're teaching in the high school and college level, many of your students may already know how to use OBS because they're playing around with streaming and recording. That's the cool thing about it. There's 40 million people using OBS, and probably more. One of the things to know when you're setting up OBS is you probably want to set it up for 1920 by 1080p at 30 frames per second. That's the standard for HD videos. Full HD videos, but you could do 1280 by 720 if your computer cannot handle that process. Now, OBS does have a studio mode. So if you have a producer or a student or a teacher aide, they can actually create really beautiful video productions for you. And you can just be the one on camera. So there's definitely some really nice options for doing that. This is just familiarizing you a little bit with that interface. So if you click the studio mode button, you get two screens instead of one. So if you're just a teacher doing it solo, just stick with one screen in the middle. If you have a producer or someone helping you, they can use the preview screen to build out an entire scene and move it around and then transition to the live output, which would be what is being recorded. Now, the little plus and minus buttons at the bottom, those are to add scenes or sources. So you add scenes there and you add sources there. So wanted to show that really quickly. And now, again, I'm trying to stay high level, so this could apply to any video production software or recording software that you use. One easy way to record an awesome video for your learning management system would be to include a video in a clip. So let's say, you're a teacher and you've got a smartphone, right? That's all you need. You just take your smartphone out and you record a little video. And I highly suggest doing that because kids and students and teachers are so used to doing that kind of stuff. Mike's got an example for us. He's going to show us an example. And we're going to play that because it's really a good idea. So this is the intro. Welcome. So just a quick little intro, but I also like just doing it from a phone as well and just saying, hey guys, you're halfway through, your course. I'm so excited and happy for you. By this point, you know this, this, and this, and let's get started with our next lecture. You take that video clip from your phone, put it onto your computer, put it in OBS, you play the intro clip, and then you switch to a dynamic layout like this. Dynamic layout 1, dynamic layout 2, and then a final outro. It could be anything. You might get to right click that desktop capture and change it to the updated one. And then you're good. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to also layer on top B-roll, right? Additional video clips. So you can create video clips that you can put on top of all of this. So that could be scene 1, that could be scene 2, scene 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need a lot, but it's nice to have scenes, and it allows you to become a better storyteller. And storytelling is something we talk about a lot in the book. How can you become a more engaging storyteller where students really want to really understand, first of all, their role in your lesson, in the story that's being told? If you can help them accept the hero role in the story and understand that, the villain is being uneducated about this subject, and kind of help them understand the story as you become the guide, it's a play-by-play kind of storytelling process that can really help educators be better at their jobs. So a basic setup would be a webcam and a USB microphone. Now, you may not even need the USB microphone if there is a microphone built into the webcam. I'm a big fan of the HuddleCam HD webcam. It has 2 microphones in it that can be used, and then a 1080p camera that's really high quality. It works really well with OBS. HuddleCam also has a HuddleCam HD Pro version, which has some optical zoom that we talked about in the book as well. So there's that option. And then the other kind of upgraded option is to throw in that document camera, which allows you to kind of blend the worlds of, physical items and physical textbooks and video from an actual webcam. So you can go further. You can go a lot further, and you could have animated sidebars and informational squares and live camera feeds and all these different sources. And we really teach you everything you need to know to get to that point, which is really cool and fun. And Tess and I actually did a whole course called the Broadcast Club curriculum that was really popular. It was called ABC2 at the time. And that's kind of like, if you want to take your learning further and learn OBS even in more depth, you can take that course as well. Okay, it's time to open it up for Q&A. I got through it in a half hour, Tess. What'd you think?
You did great. You really powered through it.
Thanks. Well, I see we have some people here in Zoom, so I'd love to hear from you guys. What's going on, everybody? Hi, Jeff. Hi.
Hold on. Okay, there you go. You're unmuted, Jeff.
All right. Hey, I'm having a great time. I really appreciate all the information. Actually, I'm dealing with a couple of schools right now they're trying to figure out ways to get back, and it's really a hectic time because the school IT department is not in sync with the teachers, and there's a disconnect between the school's IT and the teachers, and whether they're going to teach from home or from school. I think that's one of the biggest problems I'm seeing. I've been talking with a lot of teachers, and that disconnect, and then having to bring products like the document scanner that you've been having, and bringing it back to their home and teaching from home, and how to hook up all that technology has been a real tough challenge, because a lot of these teachers aren't as knowledgeable like as you and me and Tess and all of us. But that's the biggest challenge I'm seeing, is how to create that connection between the school's IT people and how to install documents. Because a lot of times they can't even install software because the school controls how that software is installed, and they have to make an appointment to have the IT people. Because it's so that's my biggest problem that I've been seeing. But really great today.
Thank you. And you know, that was kind of one of our thoughts, is that like, is it good? You know, the problem is there's not a lot of commitment. Are we going to be from home? Are we not going to be from home? I think most people are planning for online education from home. And you know, what we thought was, well, let's create a guide that has professional development for teachers to learn how to become better online educators, because no one can argue with that, right? Teachers should become better online education and learn how to create more engaging videos for their learning management systems. And so this book is free. So I hope that everyone gets a copy of it, prints it out on their printer. Technology Tools for Online Education. The online course is free right now. So if you email blast that out, you can use coupon code August. And we thought, well, look, at least we can help everybody kind of increase their professional development for online education. And then, you know, in the midst of who's making what decisions about who's working from home and who's not, because I agree, Jeffrey, it's difficult to plan when you're not sure what the plan is really at the higher levels of education, at the administration levels. So I see we have another test question, Tess?
Yeah, there's a question about the book from Robert in the Zoom chat. Does the book explain the differences between Zoom, Microsoft, and Google, etc.?
So the good news on that front, if I just if I go back to the book I most recently produced, which was the Online Meeting Survival Guide. This book is actually free as well. This book truly goes over each of these online meeting platforms. So it does Skype, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Facebook, because Facebook has their new Rooms platform, and really goes over the whole evolution. It's actually a much longer, fatter book than Technology Tools for Online Education. This kind of picks up where this leaves off with online meetings. So if you really want to go deep into the online meeting technology and truly go into Skype, Google Hangouts, Meet, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, this is the book for you. Again, totally free. And there's an online course with it. This one truly focuses on the technology tools for online education and the learning management platforms making the videos for those platforms. So I think that most teachers don't have a choice between Google Meet or Zoom. It's just like, this is what we're using and go for it. So that's kind of like, it's assumed that, you know, you've got an online meeting technology and you're going to use it. This is how to create the videos and make it more engaging and interactive for students.
You have some questions on YouTube as well.
All right.
I'm putting the link to download the PDF version from StreamGeeks.us in the YouTube chat. You can also get a Kindle version on Amazon.
Yeah, Knowing to Doing is asking, can we get PDFs to both books? Yes, just go to StreamGeeks.us. Right on the homepage, you'll see links to get these books for free. The PDF versions. If you want the paperback, you know, we have to leverage Amazon to print them on demand, and it costs $8.99.
Rob says, when you use OBS for this, can you chop off part of the window capture so you can chop off the controls in Zoom where you have chat and share screen, etc. at the bottom?
Yes, you can. And something that I'll demonstrate right now in accessibility, sorry, Mike, you just got rid of it and I added it back. See where it says right here, always show meeting controls? I have that unchecked. So the meeting controls should go away when my mouse is away from them. But they still don't always go away. So yes, using OBS, Wirecast is even better, and vMix, they all allow you to do cropping and stuff. And that is discussed. All of those tools are discussed in the book, along with another free tool. So this book really focuses on OBS because it's free. And we're assuming, hey, I'm a teacher, I have $0 to spend. How can you help me? You know, maybe you need to buy a webcam. But so this book goes over OBS because it's totally free. And then Pixlr, which is a free version of Photoshop. And it's very easy to use. It's Chrome-based, so it's web-based. So you don't even have to download anything. So by having some photo editing skills and some video production skills, you can take those two skills together and make I think videos that your students are going to be engaged with. They're going to enjoy watching. It's going to put you way ahead of, you know, what's out there right now. You know, the just using Zoom to record videos is really kind of getting old for students. They've seen it. It's a picture in picture. This is really going to take it up a notch, and it's not going to cost teachers anything. So that was kind of the motivation behind that.
Says, when live streaming to OBS, is there a way to reduce latency to allow two-way communication in the chat bar?
Yes. Now the good thing about Zoom is that it is very low latency. It is real-time communications. So when you're live streaming on YouTube or Facebook, you know, there's like a 30 to 45 second delay. And that is because a live stream can have 100,000, 1 million people watching, and it can be from anywhere in the world. Whereas with Zoom, you know, there's a cap, and the quality of Zoom, the video quality of Zoom is lower than what you can deliver with a content delivery network. So Zoom, I've never had issues with the latency. Like right now, Tess and I are communicating, we're live streaming. I wouldn't watch the live stream on YouTube right now because it would be 30 seconds behind. But the YouTube and the Zoom chat is generally in sync. Sorry about it. Took me a second to get that out. Okay. Hit me.
Through Tech in the City, Honolulu. I use a Mac and I've been a beta tester for the app. It can be another option for teaching online if you must be on the Zoom platform. Yes,
I've heard about the app. I think it's great. Zoom 5.2 released many of the features that was touting, including the ability to do the filters, the overlays, and the PowerPoint as your Zoom background. Now, if you learn how to use OBS with the virtual camera plugin, you can basically do anything that has. But I do like because of how simple it is and how it's browser-based. I believe it's not browser-based, is it? You do have to download something. So it's definitely not as full-featured as OBS, but and it's only for Mac, as you're saying, Jim. It's not available for Windows. But I think that they're going in the right direction, and I think it's simple and easy to use. So I don't want to rule it out. I think it's a great option, and everyone should take a look at it.
See a conversation in the Zoom chat. Core Code says, is it hard to integrate OBS into Canvas?
So Canvas would be the online learning management platform, and OBS does not have a direct integration. So you would be using OBS to record your lessons and then uploading them to Canvas. There is not, as far as I know, a direct integration. If Canvas does support a webcam source, meaning you can do a live session inside of Canva, which I know many of the platforms do allow, you can use OBS to send the video from OBS into anything that accepts a webcam source using the virtual camera output.
That covers everything for me. I don't know if we want to open things up to anybody that has any additional questions in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, let's open it up. If anybody wants to ask any questions before we close this session, it's been very helpful to have all these great questions, so I kind of get a pulse on what people are interested in. Does anybody want to unmute their microphones and say something before we close? Let me unmute you. I think Tess, maybe you might have to unmute Core Code. Can you do that, Tess?
I've requested to ask to unmute, but
Okay.
I don't have full control of that.
Okay. And Doctor, we can't hear you, Core Code. If you wanna
Request
unmute,
to unmute again, and let's see.
and then Dr.
Okay.
Tracy. Oh, there you go.
There you go. It just took me a while. Is there a preferred format, and are there a number of different formats we can record in on OBS if we wanted to put it on Canvas?
Yes. So one is, of course, MP4. So MP4, most popular one. The nice thing about OBS versus like, let's say you record with Zoom, right? Zoom records in a low definition recording. So when you have an MP4 file, you can have a high quality MP4, you can have a low quality MP4. And the difference is the bit rate. So the bit rate is how much data is being recorded every second. So if you have a high bitrate MP4, it can look like television quality, like Blu-ray, DVD quality. If you have a low bitrate MP4, you see pixelation and frame rates are low. So, with Zoom, you have no option for changing the bitrate. It just records it and gives it to you. Here's an MP4 file. The nice thing about MP4 is that MP4 files they don't take up a lot of storage. So they're not big files. But with OBS, you can set the bitrate to whatever you like. And in my book, I recommend 8 to 10 to 12 megabits per second for the bitrate to really get a high quality recording. That's why with Zoom, sometimes, it just doesn't look that great compared to, other videos that you see maybe on YouTube. Not to mention that all the video and audio is being compressed for video over the internet, when if you're just trying to make a video to upload to Canvas, there's no need for compressing and sending all of the video up to the cloud, like you would with Zoom, and then back down. Just do it all on your local computer, and you could even do it without the internet, and your quality will be much better.
Thanks. So you'd recommend between 8 and 12 megabytes per second? Huh?
Yes, and generally it's actually expressed in kilobits per second. So it'd be like 8,000 kilobits per second or 12,000 kilobits per second. That's what I recommend. Some people who really care, they do 20, 30, 40 megabits per second. But those files can get really big. So if you're doing it that much and you do an hour-long lesson, it could be like 5 gigabytes.
Yeah, well, I have a TV studio, but this is for the computer. So I use OBS in my TV studio at a real high rate. I was trying to figure out what's the best rate when we're doing it for lessons on Canvas.
Yeah, I mean, Canvas, the problem with Canvas and YouTube and everyone else is they're all going to compress it too. And they do a process called transcoding. So depending on the student's internet connection, they transcode the bit rate down even further. So you usually want to provide, the head end, the YouTube, the Canva, system, the best quality possible, because they're going to compress it again and transcode it again. And then it can really get lost in translation if you're starting with a low bit rate MP4 to begin with.
And wouldn't the supplier might throttle it down too if there's a lot of demand? Is that not true?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Google's servers are big enough, but depending on who you're using, they could throttle it. But I think everyone today uses what's called cloud-based transcoding, which is a good thing, right? Because if someone has a low bandwidth, they don't have good internet connection, they can still watch it in 360 by 240, right? In a low resolution, low bitrate format, but at least they can hear and see what's going on. It's not in 1080p, HD video, but it could be. And also from an archival perspective, you want your core files to be HD, full HD. I don't think they have to be 4K, but I think they should be 1920 by 1080p, 30 frames per second in at least 8 to 12 megabits per second from an archival perspective. So you have a very high quality, like when we live stream right now, we're live streaming in 1920 by 1080p at 5 megabits per second. I would never do it in 1080 and 720 or lower, because from an archival perspective, I want to keep the high definition videos available online forever.
Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Dr. Tracy, did you have any questions before we close?
I did not. I'm just enjoying what I'm hearing.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Well, it's been a pleasure, everyone. If there's no final questions, we will close on Wednesday. So in 2 days, Tess, what's our topic for Wednesday? Today was how to live stream a classroom. Then we have another educational. All month we're going to be doing educational tutorials.
Don't have the file open right in front of me.
Okay, that's fine. Ellen, did you want to jump in with a question, Ellen? You're muted right now. I don't know if Tess can unmute you. There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't have any questions yet. I just joined in. I'm fascinated because I'm just starting a program online virtually that we did in person. So obviously I want to kick up our game.
Well, grab a free book, The Technology Tools for Online Education. It's a short read, which is great. It's only like 75 pages. So pick it up. You can read it in an hour. There's an online course that you can enroll in for free with coupon code August. And, we're going to be here live streaming all month on educational topics. If you can join at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, you get to see the whole presentation and then ask questions after. So hopefully next time you can join with your questions.
Thank you.
And of course, this video is being recorded, so you should be able to go on YouTube and just go all the way back to the beginning.
Oh, terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope that this book really helps. Technology Tools for Online Education. If you're a Kindle reader, it's available for free on the Kindle store right now. The PDF version is available for free on StreamGeeks.us. And the Udemy course that comes with it is also free. There's a coupon code. You really should get this stuff now because some of it's only available for a short time. So coupon code August on Udemy to take the Technology Tools for Online Education, where you can learn to make more engaging videos with free tools like Open Broadcaster software, like Pixlr, and I've really kind of hand-selected and tried all the best free tools out there, documented how to use them, and added a bunch of best practices in there as well, because we do obviously a lot of instructional online videos, and I think we're pretty good at it. Of course, we have a nice studio. Not every teacher and educator does, so we try to use free tools and affordable webcam technology to make this book and this online course. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll be back next week at Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Hey guys, if you're seeing this video, something has gone wrong. This is our backup video for the Worship Summit Live 3.0. Again, if you're seeing this, we're working on it. We're in the studio. Maybe the power went out.